Okay, here we go. Florida legislature expands Ron DeSantis' program to fly migrants to blue states. This is the thing I talked about last week. The measure
Hmm.
passed during a special session formally created the Unauthorized Alien Transport Program under the state's Division of Emergency Management. So that thing he did that some people said was illegal, they just made a law saying, nah, it's fine.
Yeah, but the thing is, just like I argued last week, is that even if Florida says it's okay, the federal government doesn't. So moving people across state lines, it immediately becomes a federal issue.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to sue him for it. And then the
I believe he is being sued for it.
I think I read that at the bottom here that people are suing him for it. But
Yeah.
I think it
So
will
we'll
just
see how
get
it goes.
a judge, possibly even appointed a judge, will look at this and then just stop. They'll be like, ah, no, they made a law for it. It's cool. A Democratic state senator also sued DeSantis over the relocations, saying they violated state law. The new legislation would address that issue, allowing Florida officials to transport migrants from anywhere in the country, a modification that could nullify the suit. Yeah, that's what they want. Could nullify the suit.
So that's a state senator suing DeSantis in Florida, in a Florida court.
Mm-hmm.
That's not somebody that's suing him in federal court. And that's the difference is if somebody sues DeSantis in federal court, then no change to Florida's law is ever going to manage to nullify the lawsuit.
If
So
the
that's what they have to
federal
do.
court
Is if
looks at it and decides to not to take up the case, then it would nullify it just as well. The federal court could look at it and
yeah,
say,
it would
"Hey,
be, but
yeah, they
except
made
for
a
the
rule for
fact
this."
that then you can appeal that to the appellate court.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the appellate court can actually tell a federal court to take a case.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in which case it would be tried.
Unless
So
they decide
if
to
somebody
not to do
really
it
wants
either.
to block this, if they want to call it human trafficking, if they, I mean, it is across state lines, so it is a federal issue. It's not a state issue.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody should be filing a federal lawsuit. That's how our legal system works at the state and the federal level.
Okay, and then if they do it next week after this bill's signed, is it still a federal
The
issue?
bill gets put on hold basically.
Okay, and
Like I think the term is actually a stay. A
okay,
stay gets implemented, so you don't get to implement any of the bill until the bill is tried in court.
mm-hmm. So then why did the Florida legislature pass this? What was the reasoning?
What do you mean? They passed it because
They want to do it in the future, and they want
they
the
want to
last
do it.
one to be legal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they
they're
passed it, except for the fact that again, you can if you put the legislation on trial, there is a stay that prevents it from happening again until such time as the legislation is either approved by the courts or denied.
mm-hmm.
But the challenge has to happen. Somebody's got to challenge it. Otherwise, Florida's going to get away with it.
Hope somebody is. That would be nice because this seems like a bad thing to do. And I think it's a bad thing, and they just made the law make bad things okay.
I think
I mean,
that
I hate to be as simplistic as that, but that's the way I'm seeing it right now.
as a person who is on the conservative side, I kind of have like a two different responses to this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, flying people across state lines is a federal matter and no longer a state matter. And I don't think that's a good idea to do. At the same time, it's like, Nelson from The Simpsons when he
Mm-hmm.
goes, ha ha,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the other response I have to it as well. Like,
Because
hmm.
because it made liberals angry.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
okay, they're, they're angry when the governor of Florida does a bad thing. That we should all be angry when the governor of Florida human traffics
I think
people.
it's sort of
You know?
more of a hey, this is a red state, and we voted against uh, you know, allowing illegal immigrants to stay here, and if you want them to, you take them. Have fun.
hmm
That's sort of how I view that. Like, if you guys want the immigrants, then you have them, and don't put them in red states. Is sort of how the thinking is on that.
hmm The people of Martha's Vineyard did take them and processed them the right way.
Good on them.
Okay, then maybe the Florida governor could process them the right way. I'm not asking him to move the world here. I'm just saying, like, follow the law and don't invent new ones to cover your ass. This is okay. We're circling. We're going back to where we started. Okay. Um, let's see what else we got. And Walt Disney again.
Talked about that already. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I brought up this guy's thing, and it's a opinion thing, but um,
Yeah, I've read that.
okay.
It
It's
was not
very
uh
opinionated, but
it is.
the important thing I think I took from here was this: the Rosewood Massacre happened in Florida, right there. The Rosewood Massacre was a racially motivated massacre of black people and the destruction of a black town that took place during the first week of January 1923 in rural Levy County, Florida. Uh, at least 6 black people and 2 white people were killed, but eyewitnesses' account suggests a higher death toll between 27 and 150. It was the 20s. Nobody knew how many people died, which is bad. Um, this is Florida history. This happened. And I'm okay with you not explaining this to kindergartners. But if this were taught, this can't be taught under the new uh, DeSantis law. You cannot teach this in a high school, and maybe you cannot teach this in a college in Florida. This is a literal historical thing that happened, and they don't want people to know about it.
Mm,
And I'm going to scoot down here to the end, where specifically uh, the justice included uh, the Rosewood victims versus the state of Florida, and Florida paid out uh, money, lots of it in reparations.
okay.
But because it has that word, it's going to fall afoul of the uh, education bill. The woke act will prevent you or prevent anybody from teaching this because it includes the word reparations.
The we haven't had a case yet where somebody has been sued over teaching about Rosewood. So I don't know.
No, not yet because it's still brand new, and all the
Uh-huh.
schools aren't
Exactly. And I
right.
don't know. However, I will ask this question.
hmm
What benefit does teaching about Rosewood provide to a student?
If it's in a high school Black history class, it teaches them history. If it happens during a civics class or a civil rights type class or a civics class that's discussing civil rights at the high school or college level, explains to them what happened. It is history. Let's not do this again. Let's
Okay.
understand what happened. And the thing I mentioned a couple of weeks ago about there being two different types of people, right? Like, you've got a poor kid who loves working on cars, and he goes to high school, and he gets a job right out of high school fixing cars. He's great. He's very motivated. He becomes an auto mechanic. He lives a good life. He never hears about this. While his classmate goes off to college, and then in a different state probably, and learns about this, and then they talk about it. The auto mechanic won't know this happened, and this is that uh, conservative idea that their kids go off to college and become raging liberals and then come back and are completely different people. It's because the auto mechanic is living in ignorance.
Okay. And you sort of recontextualized it a little bit
Mm-hmm.
when you said in a high school civics class
Mm-hmm.
or a high school Black history class,
Mm-hmm.
where I would agree that this is appropriate. Like, yeah, if you're in Florida, you're high school aged, and you are in a class that is designed to teach Florida history or Florida civics, etc., then yeah, teach it.
Okay.
However, you are an English teacher or a math teacher, no, teach English and math.
I can agree with that,
That's
but
that's the that's the difference there
the Stop Woke
is
Act
where
doesn't
I'm
allow
at.
that first part.
Then it will be, I'm sure it will be challenged.
Can't we not pass it?
It's
I
been passed already.
I know, and I'm and we're seeing the books being stolen off the shelves and the schools being very.
We already had that debate.
I know, but the schools are being very careful.
They
And
yeah, everybody that's in a public setting should be careful. Yeah,
and
anything that's I mean, you have to be careful about a lot of things nowadays in
I
order to maintain your position.
mhm. Being careful, I can understand and I can appreciate. Hey, if you taught this in your math class and it was inappropriate to a bunch of fourth graders, I agree. That's a bad idea. The Stop Woke Act makes it a felony. If a fourth grade math teacher talks about Rosewood, that's a felony, according to the Stop Woke Act. I agree. Hey,
Felony carrying what
uh,
punishments, and also you agree with what?
I agree that if the fourth grade math teacher is talking about this, they shouldn't be. I'm on
Yeah,
board. Hey, fourth grade, too young for this kind of subject. Math teacher, you need to be talking about math and discussing that.
yeah.
I'm
Your
all right
fourth
with
grade
that.
math. You're teaching addition, subtraction, and multiplication tables.
Great.
That's
If
it.
some wild fourth grade math teacher just found this out and wants to share it with his students and does, I think he
Man,
could
you're
he
talking to
could be
8-year-olds.
he could be uh, reprimanded by the school. I want the principal to come and say, hey, don't do that. I want the school administrators to say, you need to be teaching at this math, and you need to not talk about this. And if the parents of those children are upset, that's fine. Have those parents go to the school and talk to them. Have them go to the school board meeting and say, hey, we don't want our fourth grade math teacher teaching about the Rosewood Massacre. Great. But felony charges, no, absolutely not. That is entirely
You
too
know, I
far.
really don't have the statistics on fourth grade math teachers teaching about the Rosewood Massacre before and after the the law was
I
passed.
know.
So I can't say that it was for sure happening all the time before, but I mean, common sense and reason just tells you that the fourth grade math teacher should not be t- talking about this in the first place, even if they want to share it. I mean, it's 10-year-olds. Like, get out of here. Like, it's ridiculous. Uh, I think the situation itself is absurd.
Hmm.
Um,
So it's saying it doesn't impose felonies. So let me see.
Oh,
Uh, this new law imposes felony penalties, but it is true that the bill does not impose penalties on educators. Does not impose any penalties. It instead mandates that only approved books, school library, and approval must come from a certified media specialist. Instead, supporters of the new
I
law
certainly think that
urge the
having a
potential.
book on the Rosewood Massacre would be inappropriate for a fourth grade classroom
I agree,
in math.
uh, but I don't want it to be a felony.
Now,
Yeah.
to be fair, those fourth graders most likely would not be able to comprehend the book in the first place because they're 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. But that's not a felony, right? That's a teacher doing a poor job of time gating and understanding where the children are.
But a kid would probably have to report that to their parents in order for there to be a lawsuit in the first place.
Educators were
So,
reminded of the felony penalties contained in Florida statute there. Um, Training explicitly warned of felony charges. So it's confusion. Some schools are doing training and warning of felony charges. Educators were explicitly warned of the potential for third degree felony charges as part of the communications.
specifically about pornography, it looks like.
Right. Yes, and that
I mean, pornography
makes
doesn't belong in any classroom.
I know, but the Gestapo that uh, DeSantis will appoint to the book committee will call regular books with just two mommies pornography.
No, I don't
Ah, I
think they
think they
will.
will. I
It's
absolutely think they will.
it's the depiction of erotic behavior.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm literally reading from your link here.
I know. I'm looking right at yeah,
It's yeah. I
but
mean,
that's what
two
I think
mommies
they
is
will
not
do.
pornography. If
No,
they
it's
try it,
grooming.
well,
It's grooming.
again, if they try it, then it'll be challenged,
Uh,
or it should be.
After all the shit goes wrong, after the kids lose an education, after all the books get taken out, it'll get challenged. The books are already been taken out, and this system's already coming online, and other states are starting to pick it up. I'd
The
I'd rather
books have
look
been
at bad ideas
challenged.
and then not do them. I'd rather look down the road a little bit at the choices and make the good one instead of, hey, we have to do it. Hey, it's going to happen. Hey, here's all the bad things that happen. Let's challenge it afterward. It might be too late by then.
I don't think there's no too late. Is no. One if you have 1 year where books have to be approved in order to get back on the shelf, then you have 1 year where the books aren't on the shelves. I mean, I don't see the damage there. Um,
What if it takes 10 years to sort this out? What if uh, DeSantis is the next president and he suggests pushing it to the entire country?
and that will also be challenged because we don't make education laws, at least on the level that the Stop Woke Act is on,
Mm-hmm.
at the federal level, because those are recognized as state right type laws.
And does that make it okay? Like the state of Florida wants to teach completely alternative history, and they all voted for it. And it's
Don't,
all
don't
going.
call it alternative history. That's not what it
Uh,
is.
but if they did, this is selective history, not alternative. But if the state of Florida wants to teach selective history and create a two-tiered uh, society, I don't think
If the
that's a good
state of
idea.
Florida wants to teach what the state of Florida wants to teach,
Mm-hmm.
then the state of Florida should teach it.
that sounds like a bad plan. I'm looking forward to the uh, ramifications and uh, the ends of this thing. You get a poorly educated populace who believes what they were taught. Columbus
If the
can come back.
populace is poorly educated, then they will underperform, and it will come back to bite Florida. But Florida should be allowed to govern itself.
And if that governing that they're doing themselves is harmful to the population, we can do nothing. We just sit and watch.
Let
We
them
wait
do it.
until it's over.
Yep. Let them.
And
Let them. Let them fuck up.
then, honestly, what I think the ultimate plan is a political one, a political plan. Make it so impossible for center left and left leaning people to be in the state that they leave. And then um, you have a solid right voting base forever. I think the well, come here, map. I think the Republicans want the entire center of the country to contain about 12 people per state that are hard right, and that way they get 60 senators off of 1% of the vote.
This is actually even more conspiratorial than the Republicans' outlook on immigration.
It's
The
the exact
Democrats want
same.
a whole bunch of immigration so that you can turn states blue and so that you get the extra power from all the immigrants that vote blue.
Mm-hmm. That's a you're right. That is a conspiracy theory that Republicans have about the Democrats.
And you've now created a conspiracy theory from the Democrats about the Republicans about wanting as few people as possible in the states.
Yeah. If you don't like Florida law, maybe I'm a trans person who wants to learn about black history in Florida. What would I do? I would have to leave.
We have this thing, it's called the internet,
Uh huh.
and pretty powerful search engine known as Google.
Okay. Great. If I lived in Florida, I would want to leave. I'm telling you specifically, me, myself, personally. If I saw what DeSantis was doing to the school my kid has to go to, I would want to leave. And that is a blue vote leaving Florida. Uh, if Republicans know and talk about that conspiracy theory, I think a lot of GOP, I think that P stands for projection, they just tell you what they're doing and project it onto the Democrats. They project a lot, often, the Republicans do. And when they say that conspiracy theory about bringing in the migrants, it's because they're projecting their actual plan, which is to make the center of the country solid red all the time, including Florida. And they don't want Florida to be a swing state anymore. It used to be. It's not anymore. And they don't want it to be. So they're going to
Well,
make
it
laws
still
to make it
is, actually. It's
impossible
still a
for
purple
left-leaning people
state.
to live there. It's a swing state?
It is. It's been a swing state. It's been a purple state for decades.
Mm,
Even in the last
maybe.
election, they only went for Trump by 3%.
Okay. But you're right, I am being conspiratorial.
And I do believe that Obama actually won Florida.
Right, because it used to be a swing state. It's not anymore. At least I don't think it is anymore. Sorry, back on track. The bottom line here from good old Snopes is that uh, it does not explicitly require any educator to cover up library or paper with anything of nature. However, training materials provided at county level for the express purpose of educating teachers on the new law explicitly recommended covering unapproved books and warned of third-degree felony penalties for the distribution of books deemed harmful to children under a pre-existing anti-pornography law. So that teachers think that there's third-degree felony penalties coming because they've been told that there are. I mean, this,
So there's some
if,
confusion,
yeah, there's
a little bit of
confusion.
mismanagement.
Yes, because a Republican passed a law that doesn't make any sense. This is what usually happens. This is exactly, not to bring up the entire abortion division issue again, but this is what happens with abortion. So they create laws that are confusing, don't make any sense, vague as all hell, and nobody knows what's going on.
So is your argument that the law should be more clear?
Yes, it should be more clear, but they won't make it more clear because they want it to be unclear. I would write a law that is specific. They want it to be vague. They want it to be vague so that they can selectively enforce it.
Okay, fair enough. I think that in a couple of years we'll be able to sort of do a review
Hmm.
of the policy and the impact that it's had,
Hmm.
and whether or not the books are still off the shelves and whatnot. I think that it's a little too new. I wonder how accurate your speculation will be another year or two down the line.
You're right, it is speculation. I am speculating. Um, but I'm basing those speculations on just what I've seen here conservatives online talking about.
That's fair. And like I said, I'd like to revisit it after it's had some time to settle.
Okay. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. Uh, if you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. Um, this is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.